Record. Pete Malicki, I'm so excited. We're talking today. We're going to have some great conversations about speaking, some business stuff, and hey, welcome. So excited.
Hey, Laura Jane, good to see you as always. How's life? You going good?
Yeah, really good. We've known each other for so long. Hey, like almost 20 years.
Getting there? Yeah. Sad to say that very large number out loud, I think.
Yeah, I remember you. I probably remember you more than you remember me, but my first encounter with yourself, we're a similar age, and
Mm.
you were headhunting what was it called? The Short and Sweet Theatre Festival. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's
Yeah.
the largest 10-minute play festival on planet Earth, in fact.
And you were rocking it, like literally. You had thousands of people coming in and out of your doors. You had the whole team. Like every time I saw you, you were definitely the leader of the bunch. And you had all these actors and producers and directors coming through the door. And the production, I think, was pretty impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, it ran really smoothly. I took over from a chap called Alex Brune, who did a really, really fine job of running the event. And so my philosophy was, well, it ain't broke. I ain't going to try to fix anything. I just did exactly how he did it in my first year. I threw in a little bit of my own spice, but yeah, he was just doing a great job. So I, picked up the mantle and kept it going.
I love it. So, Pete, maybe for the audience, share a little bit of your experience, I guess. You're a bit of a performer, you're a writer, producer, a professional in so many different areas and so many skills. So, yeah, maybe share with them who Pete Malicki is.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. I will. So, yeah, I have a pretty wild background. It doesn't sound real when I say all of the things that I've done out loud, but I have a sort of dual creative industries career as well as a professional career. So, whilst I was running festivals and producing live entertainment and directing shows. I was also working mostly for government, but just that kind of corporate career as well, doing a bunch of things in IT and learning and development, project management. So I have a pretty broad spread of things that I do. And I kind of ended up merging those two worlds because creatives, they don't really get very good education around business. And I was working in a corporate setting and running my own businesses in the arts, and I could just see the value of that stuff. So I tried to bring that in to help artists, so coaching artists with business. And then, like over the years, kind of moving towards just doing that more generally, moving away from just focusing on the arts to running a business incubator and helping just anybody, startups in particular, who are trying to, set up their business and uh, try to figure out how to make everything come together and start to get better results. Because very often there's a lot of passion. And when you don't have that knowledge, you can be spending a lot of time feeling like you're treading water and not really getting anywhere. So just helping out those people who have that passion and that drive and trying to give them some of those technical skills and business skills to really make things land.
I love that you said that, Pete, because really, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I had this same discussion with a friend of mine, Laurie, who's like yourself, like myself. She jumped into business from being, I think, in her early 20s, but she's a dancer by background and musical theater. She traveled all around, went to America, came back. But she's very impressive. She has this ability to jump in to business and put systems in place, put the structures, figure out marketing, figure out networking, where do the clients come from, and all the things, the sales funnel, all of that. But just like what you just said, Pete, so many actors, dancers, creative types don't have this drive or this ability to want to learn the business side. And a lot of the skill and the talent out there is just sitting dormant because they're really working on their creative skills, but they're not focusing on how to sell it to the marketplace. So I love that you said that. And you're being a business coach for some creatives. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing that for more than a decade now, just doing one-on-one coaching packages with artists. Again, that's kind of where I started doing all of this stuff. Actually, my first business was running a health clinic about 15 years ago because I was a massage therapist for 20 years. So
Right.
again, like so many things, very random. But yeah, like starting with artists and doing a 3 month coaching package just to help them really figure out exactly as you say. Not like artists have their passion and their creative skills, but so many of them just aren't getting the work that they want. And teaching them that there's just not that much work out there and you've got to make your own opportunities. You've got to figure out what is it that you have that's unique that you can take to people, to organizations, or is there some activity that you can set up using your creative skills in a different way, in a new way, to try to find a way to make a living from it? Because that's at the end of the day what we all want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. For myself, I got a job as a fairy when I had a casting agent, and I realized I was getting so much work for this small business owner for kids' entertainment, dressed as a fairy and a pirate and characters, that someone put the idea in my head when I think I was 24, 25, like, why are you working for another business when you could literally use your skills, create a business, and take it to the marketplace and get double or maybe even triple what you're getting right now from the paycheck? And I was like, oh, Pete, literally, I said this. I could never own my own business. Like, I'm an actress, like, I'm a dancer. I could never have my own business. I don't have a business degree. And the person asked me, Pete, they were like, so what do you need? Do you, and I was like, okay, I rattled off the list like costumes, microphone, a script, maybe a website. At the time, it was 2011. So, there wasn't so much social media focus
Mm.
back then. But I think I built a Facebook page. So, anyways, long story short, I decided to take a little bit of money from the paycheck I was getting from hospitality because the casting calls were very, very few coming in to pay the bills, of course. So I'd get a little bit of money from my hospitality, put it into a costume, and I'd do that weekly. And it took me about 6 months to build up all the equipment that I needed. Then I was like, I need a website. And at the time, people were it was about $10,000 for a website. And I was like, well, I don't have that. What do I do? So I went to Google and Googled, websites and found a 350 USD website template hosting package. Bought that and figured out the code by literally copying and pasting and seeing what title would come out and put back in, if you get what I mean. So it was just trial and error. And then I was ready. So within 6 months, I launched my own business. My mum was like, don't quit your job. And I was like, watch me. 2 weeks, I had nothing. And I was like, I should have listened to mum. And then it happened. The first job happened, and then two jobs, and then three jobs. And by the end of that year, so I think I launched it in the middle of the year, about July. At the end of the year, I had too much work and I had to ask my actor friends to help me out. So that was sort of my introduction to business. It was just a matter of someone giving me the belief, me diving in, and I have this ability, and I'd love to know about yourself. I think we're a bit similar, this ability to jump in and figure it out and not let things stop me along the way. I'll just find the answer to the problem. So, do you feel that you function that way, Pete? Like you use your creativity to solve problems in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And like when you started your business and you had to figure out how to make a website, there's always a few different ways to get anything done. You can find an expert and pay them. It's the most expensive way to do it. You can get good deals out there sometimes, of course, but then you also end up having to project manage whoever that person is. You can't just say, "Oh, give me a website," and they go off and do it. You've got to go back and forth and give them a brief and all of that kind of stuff. Or you could just figure it out yourself. And I think because I had a background in the arts and I was doing stints of really intensive work and then I was not working for months in the corporate career running my own business. Like I wasn't earning a huge salary for quite a lot of those early years. So I wasn't going to be sinking all of my money into things that I could figure out how to do myself. So I think, yeah, it sounds like we've had a very similar journey of self-educating. And what's so good about that is that you just learn you learn what matters in a particular area, in a particular task. Like even today, I'm talking with my wife about some printing that we need to do. And even though I don't have to do the design work anymore, we've got a designer on our team. You still do have to think about the practicalities of like, okay, we're printing a booklet and there's a front cover and a back cover, all this really boring stuff. But like, if you've never done that, you can make really big mistakes and it can be really hard to get something that sounds simple like printing done well. So I think once you know something well enough to do it yourself, then you can find someone who can help you with it. To me, that's the sweet spot.
Mm.
But yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really great way of getting your hands dirty in the early stages of a business. It's just trying to learn as many skills as you can, figuring out what you're good at, figuring out where you need help, all of those kinds of things.
Hmm.
But like, I'm really curious to know nowadays that it's been quite some time since you first started your fairy business. What's your process now?
Yeah, so geez, I was in my 20s and now I'm in my 40s. So when I started that business, I had really no idea, just a burning desire and a drive. And Pete, they were saying that I shouldn't have my own business. I shouldn't be in business because I don't have a business degree. And I don't know if anyone's listening. Have you ever been told you shouldn't be doing the thing, but you know you really need to because the thing you can't stop thinking about it in your mind? Have you ever had that? If you have, put it in the comments below. They were like, literally, don't quit your job. I'm really worried about you. All the negative stuff was coming at me. And I was like, no, I know that this is the thing that I really need to do, even though I love acting and I've been studying. I've had an associate diploma for speech and drama from Trinity College, and I was acting since a 5 year old. But look, I just knew I needed to dive in and have my own business. So I followed that and didn't listen to the naysayers. And then all of a sudden, like the work started coming in and it was sort of like heaven. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what they said I shouldn't be having, but it's working because of all the work that I've done. I've dived in and I've figured it out. And wow, this is what it's like to work for yourself, to be passionate, to deliver joy and happiness to people, and to actually find that success after people telling you no. So for me right now, being in business for, I think it's been 15 years, I use that ability to not let the words of other people come in between me and a dream. I don't let, just because I don't have a business degree or I didn't go to Harvard or I don't look like Elle Macpherson or I don't look like that person over there, so I shouldn't do the thing. Like, I think as humans, Pete, and you can probably agree to this, humans always compare yourself to others or listen to the naysayers. But in a world of negativity, we really need to listen to our heart and our intuition and just dive in and do the thing that you know you need to do, because that's what we're here to serve people. And I think intuition and the internal guidance isn't listened to enough. And the minute that I didn't listen to other people and I followed the intuition and I figured it out, it was like heaven on earth. If anyone's watching, have you ever dived in and figured something out and found massive success? I'd love to hear about it. But now, yeah, so I'm speaking to so many people. I'm empowering women through pageantry to find their own leadership skills to help them brand themselves. But I really figured out along this way, Pete, that speaking is a very powerful thing. I
Mm.
feel like speaking is sort of spiritual. Um, I'm not religious, but you can look at the Bible, for example, and see stories of people speaking and attracting people from thousands and thousands of miles and coming in to hear people speak. And and actually they talk about business in the Bible quite a bit. It's quite interesting. But long story short, the act of speaking one to many can really help businesses in so many ways. And I feel that speaking is quite daunting for someone who doesn't have the performing arts background like you and I have, Pete. And I'd love to get your idea on speaking as well. Um, for someone who doesn't have the performing arts skills to speak on stage or to pick up a script and deliver it, it is quite scary and daunting. And I think fear sets in. But I love to empower people to find their brand and to go out and speak, because it's one thing going to a networking thing and giving your card out to 100 people, but it's another when you get invited to speak on stage. Now you're speaking to one to maybe 100 people in the audience. Now you're becoming the influencer in the room, the person of importance, because you've braved yourself to be up on that stage. You're sharing your message with everyone. It might not land or resonate with everyone, but you're being the influential person in the room, and there is power of that. And so I just love the power of speaking, and I love to empower people to step over the hurdles of the fear, of the naysaying, of the I can't becauses, and step into their true power and live the life that they were meant to live. So, Pete, for yourself, coming from a performing arts background like myself and the male version of me, um, how do you feel speaking is for yourself? Is it something that you find easy or tricky?
Mm. Well, I come from the performing arts industry, but I've never been an actor. That's not my thing. So I guess I started at a big disadvantage compared to an actor who's already got used to stepping out in front of an audience and delivering lines and all of the nerves and embarrassment and feelings that come along with that. I started to run this theatre festival, Short and Sweet, we talked about earlier. And I had to go and present as part of that, and I hated it. I felt so, I just felt like they didn't want some dude to come up and just yap at them at the end of that, at the end of the night. They wanted to go home. The last thing they need is just more, yapping, yapping. They're tired. It's 10 o'clock. So I just hated doing it. And it just took me just practice and practice and practice. And honestly, one of the best pieces of advice I could give is it's like a lot of things in life. You do not start out as an expert. You don't pick up a guitar and know how to like rip out an epic solo. Nobody can do that. You have some amount of natural talent, some more than others, but nobody's an expert when they start, and just doing it is the best thing that you can do. Just going out there, presenting as much as you can, do some training, get some coaching or classes if that's what you need. Do something like Toastmasters, so you're just getting out there and practicing it. And like it might take some time. It actually took me a year or two, I reckon, before I realized, hey, I'm not nervous doing this anymore. I actually like it. I just like there's this concept called change blindness, which basically, if you see the same thing over and over and over, you don't really notice. Like when your kitchen's starting to fall apart. Like one day you just look at it and you're like, oh my God, the cabinets are like disgusting. You don't notice it because it's so gradual, and it's a bit like that. Like one day you might find that you realize, actually, I've done this so much now that I'm no longer embarrassed and nervous, and I'm starting to find my groove and find my voice, because that's really hard too. Like you can't know what your style is of public speaking until you've just gotten your hands dirty and practiced a lot. So I think finding ways of doing it is really great. And one of the best things I ever did for my business is just running a launch event where I invited 100+ people and presented on stage. That was amazing. It was such a great way of talking about what I'm doing, and you get all of the credibility and authority of being the guy like holding the microphone in front of the room full of people. Um, and yeah, like it's an investment, but like people will remember that. They'll remember that you were the one talking to them for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. So I think like it's a really powerful tool you can use if you can find a way of getting people into a room, even if it's a free event. I've done free events before, which were really useful as great ways of sort of educating people about the businesses and the service offerings that I had. Yeah, just like getting in front of a lot of people. It's a really powerful way to show that authority and expertise on whatever it is that you're doing.
Mm.
So yeah, like the number one thing for me is just like just keep at it. Don't worry if you're not naturally good. No one picks up a guitar and is naturally great, you know? It's just like anything. You got to practice this skill.
Yeah.
But I've got a question for you now, Laura. We're going back and forth.
Yeah, I love
We're
it.
co-interviewing each other. I don't know if we were planning that or it just came out naturally. Um, but like you've talked about the barriers as
Yes.
well, and I think that's a really great question to dig a little bit deeper into. So,
Hmm.
what else do you think holds people back from doing this kind of thing, from running their own
Yeah,
business, from getting
yeah.
in front of people and being the face?
I literally, Pete, think it's the mindset and not realizing that what you just said, practice makes perfect. It's a muscle. Speaking is a muscle. Anything that you're doing brand new, you have to work at building that muscle. Like athletes thinking about, going to play golf. Like the best athletes in the world won't just practice their bodies, sorry, they also will practice their mind by visualizing it. So I heard about Tiger Woods. He would sit at home after a day of practice or whatever, and he would visualize the swings in his mind where he was on the field and how the ball looked when he hit it and how it looked when he landed it, and it's all part of the game. And so I think that people don't realize that to be a better speaker or to dive in to business, it's all brand new. So you're going to feel nerves, you're going to feel maybe a bit of anxiety, but it's all good emotions because we feel that way because as humans, it's our body saying, hey, you haven't done this before. This is an unfamiliar feeling. And so it's sort of alerting us in the body, but we got to embrace those feelings and know that the impulse that you had in the beginning that led you to decide to start the thing, that impulse was a message from the power it be, right? You might call it God, the universe, Allah, whatever it is that you call it. That impulse was there for a reason. It's a message to signal you to say, yes, that's the thing that you need to be doing. Many people fear to public speak. And that's why I'm so excited about what we're about to do. And we'll talk about that later.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
um, people fear the one thing that they need to be doing. How do you stand out from the competition? How do you stand out in a crowd and be seen? Well, many businesses will just build a website and tinker around and never really sell a lot, and they'll struggle in the first year or two or whatever. But what if everyone's got their expertise? Pete's got amazing expertise, different to mine. We're in a similar industry, but different to mine. And so we can partner up. But what I'm saying is, everyone has their unique message, their unique um, uh, information inside of them that will help someone else. So the minute that you come out of your barriers, as you beautifully put it, the minute that you step through the fear barrier and step over the other side, that's when abundance can start happening in your life. And so I heard this speaker say once, she was on this ledge and she was so afraid to speak. And she was like, feeling like she was about to like jump off the ledge. And that's what she felt like when she was about to step out onto the stage. And she was like, I know I should be doing this, but my body's saying no. And I know I should be speaking, but I just really can't go right now. I can't feel it. And, anyways, the minute that she dove off the ledge, as she eloquently put it, into the light and shared her voice, but put the focus on other people, put the focus on serving others, put the focus on sharing with others her knowledge to empower them, to inspire
Mm.
them. That's when she started feeling not fearful, fearless. She became a queen, a fearless queen, an abundance queen, if you will, because she decided to, even though I felt this way and I didn't want to jump, she jumped. She took the leap of faith. She had faith that she was doing something of greatness, of value. And all of a sudden, all the fear went away. And she could then relax into the moment and just share from her words and share from her heart. And apparently, she got all these opportunities after this one particular speaking event that she really didn't want to speak at because she was so nervous of messing up. But she beautifully explained it like she was diving off the mountain. She had faith that everything would work out, and it did. Because what's going to happen when you jump is you're not going to fall and hurt yourself. You might fall, but you'll get up. You'll keep on getting up, and you'll keep on jumping and getting up, and you won't fall and die. You won't fall and hurt yourself. Just know that every single thing will work out. And I use that same idea and imagery for business. Any lesson or anything that doesn't look perfect or doesn't work out the way that you feel it should, it's there for a reason, for a lesson, so you can get stronger and be stronger and build better. So anything that you have in your business that doesn't work, maybe there's a Facebook ad and maybe there's a funnel that doesn't work out, which I'd love to get your ideas and expertise on funnels, but maybe something's not working out. It's okay. Just get excited that it didn't work out, because now you're going to be better. You're going to be better. You're going to build better, and for the purpose of serving so many other people. And so I feel a lot of the barriers come from fear, fear of other people judging you, fear of failure, fear of getting it wrong. But
Yeah.
if you constantly embrace the fear, you'll never start, and you can never get it wrong. You can only learn and be better and better. There's been so many mistakes in my last 15 years that I've had that I've learned from, and now I can share other people. Hey, don't do that because of X, Y, and Z. This is the way that you can get exposure. It's stronger, it's way better, and it's not so salesy or whatever. So, anyways, that was my kind of understanding of embracing the fear and jumping in and doing it anyway. So, Pete, what are your thoughts? And I want to hear your thoughts about funnels as well, because that's an area that I know you're very good at.
Yeah, look, I just want to kind of reflect on what you said there. I mean, I totally agree. Um, I think we're kind of we're saying the same thing in quite different ways, but at the end of the day, like if it's irrational to expect it's going to be you're going to be great at it or it's going to be easy. It won't be. It'll be scary. It'll be embarrassing. You probably won't be great the first few times you do it, or maybe even the first many times you do it. I can attest to that. I wasn't great doing what I had to do until one day I realized that I was actually getting pretty good at it. Um, and to kind of like to zero in on that thing you were saying about, finding your passion and your calling, like whether you think of it in a kind of spiritual way or not, like this is what you want to do, right? This is your drive. And people who don't have drive don't tend to do very much. In the long run, it just doesn't work out. The number one thing you need to do anything that's like self-starting is drive. So if you feel that drive, no matter how you think of it, whether you think of it as a religious thing or a spiritual thing or not at all, I just think it's so important to follow that drive. I think that's going to give you a lot of satisfaction in life. And you can get to the point where it just gives you a lot of freedom. Although there's so many things you said that I just want to kind of expand on because you just said so many great things there, Laura.
Yeah.
Like you get the freedom to have the lifestyle that you want. Maybe you earn more money, maybe you don't, but like I can do whatever I want in my life because I work full time for myself. So if I want to go away on a Tuesday, I have no boss to get permission from. We're looking at moving me and my wife to Asia sometime in the kind of midterm because we can work from anywhere as well with what we do. So being able to have that lifestyle is, I think that's an incredibly powerful thing to take into consideration, to actually be the driver of your own destiny, so to speak.
It's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, it's really great.
Can I just jump in there, Pete? A lot of people are afraid to start their own business or public speak or whatever because of I can't becauses. I can't afford it even. I can't afford it. And so what's your take on I
Hmm.
can't afford it? I'd love to hear because as a person in business, I feel that those words can just be cancerous for business people. And so when you hear I can't because, or what does I can't because I can't afford it, or whatever, I can't afford it, what does that mean to you?
Well, there's always an excuse for anything. And there's always a reason to try something. You just have to choose which one of those things you're going to do.
Mm,
And it's harder in many ways, especially at first. The starting out a business or a new undertaking is difficult. And I'm just going to go and push on that guitar analogy one more time. It's not fun when you pick up a guitar for the first time and you bloody suck. It's just not fun. You know, you listen to your favorite music and it sounds great and then you're like clang clang clang. It's not fun. So you have to be willing to go past that phase. You might you might enjoy some things about it, right? Like you don't have to be brilliant musician to enjoy playing music, and that's wonderful. But you just have to acknowledge that this is part of starting anything. Part of starting anything is that things won't go as well as they will in the future. It's like
mm,
learning anything. You're not an expert straight away. You have to study and research and work your way through it. So I think that there is a degree of being more realistic about how learning works and how doing a thing in the world works. You don't just go and do an interview and someone hires you with skills you already have. You have to figure it out and you have to be in the driving seat. Um, so I think that's a really important element to remember as well. And sorry, what was the other part of that question?
yeah, when someone says I can't afford it,
I can't
what,
afford it. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
what
thanks
does that mean
for
to you?
for the point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a really interesting one. Again, I'm going to bring that back to what do you really want? If you can't afford something, if you can't afford the time, or if you can't afford the money, because you have to invest money to ask yourself again, do you want this enough? If so, save some money up, uh, save some time up, make some time for yourself. When I was coaching people, I actually found something that was really useful was to get people to write out a schedule of their typical week, and then we'd find all of the spaces which were like non-committed time. So you've got to include like not only your work, but also your travel. You got to eat, so cooking and eating and cleaning, all of those things. And you find you have a lot less time than you think. But then with those spaces, don't commit them all because you'll burn out probably. Some people can, but most people, yeah, just like find a couple of hours here or there and make it your thing and just lock it in. So your Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., this is when I'm going to focus on my business. I'm going to shut the door. I'm going to leave my phone outside. I'm going to leave the kids with the husband or whatever it is that you need to do to block that time and just make it work, right? Like we all have 24 hours a day, and some people run marathons and work full time and raise a family and run a business or a side gig. And some people, get up out of bed at 10:30 and a.m. That's a bit more like me. I'm not a morning person, but we all have the same number of hours in the day, and it's up to you what you want to do with them. So, like, I think while it is true that there is a cost, there is a time cost, there is a money cost to doing these things, it comes down to how much do you really want to do it? And if you really want to do it, find a way to make it work. You don't have to dive straight into full time. That's really important. Like just do what you can at first, test the waters. You'll probably find that if you are enjoying it and if you have some aptitude at it, you'll probably find that you very quickly want more time. And then that's when you start to think about, do I take a sabbatical from work? Do I go down to part-time? do I save up some money to find some other kind of solution? So
Mm.
yeah, it's a really good question, and I'm not trying to suggest that this is an easy thing to do. It absolutely isn't. But like if you want to make this work, if this is the thing that is, pushing you and driving you, then just make it work. You
Yeah.
just have to dive off that ledge, as you say. It's going to be scary. It might not work out. You might fail. But that's only going to make you better the next time. That's just like when you're learning to play golf. You said, that when you swing and you get a double bogey, or if you're playing the guitar and you can't even form a chord or something like that, that's going to happen. But
Mm.
that's just part of the process. So don't worry when that happens. Just understand that that is step one, and step two, and step three, and step 20 sometimes. Work through it, just keep going, and then, eventually one day you'll realize, hey, I'm good at this. This is fun. This is really easy now. And you'll be so glad that you persevered. If you give up when you come across that first barrier, what are you sacrificing? What
Mm.
are you sacrificing?
I love that. For me, it's like a decision. There's abundance of money everywhere. You just look out the window to see cars, cars, cars. There's things everywhere. You look in your house and there's money everywhere, like meaning there's cups, there's tables, da, da, da. There's things everywhere, all over your house. So I believe it's a decision. If there's something out there that you need to learn, and by saying, I'm not going to do that because I can't afford it, it's like giving up on deciding to get better. For example, let's do a money game, Pete. Are you ready for a quick
Yeah,
money game?
let's do it.
Okay. Pete, if I said to you, can you give me $100 and I'll give you 1,000 back? Would you like to do that deal?
If I, trusted it, of course, yeah, of course I would.
Okay. If I was to say to you, Pete, give me 500 and I'll give you 2,000 back, would you do that deal?
The same.
Okay. What about 50 grand? You give that to me, I'll give you 100 grand back.
The same.
Okay. What about if you give me 1 million and I'll give you 5 million back? Would you do it?
The same.
Now, question is, which deal would be the best deal?
The bigger amount of money.
Okay. So if someone could teach you how to make $1 million in a day, would you pay for that knowledge so that you could then implement it and go out and learn it?
Absolutely. I mean, like, I am the kind of person who feels obliged to put this caveat there. There are deals that are too good to be true in the world for a reason. There are predators out there who will try
That's
to
true.
take your money.
That's
So, like, you do obviously need to do your due diligence and make sure that what you're talking about, what you're looking into, is
true.
going to pay off. But there are things out there in the world that absolutely do pay off in absolute dividends. So, like, if you've done your due diligence, then yeah, go for it.
I love it. Now, my point is this. If, okay, rich people, for example, they don't know the price of anything, right, Pete? They have no idea if they want it, they'll buy it. They know the value of everything, though. They know the value of something, right? They don't know the prices. Poor people know the prices of everything and the value of nothing, right? They can say to you, well, that coffee is this much and that is this much. However, if the coffee was served to you in a golden cup, brought out to you by servants that would sit you in a golden chair, feeding you cherries and grapes and brushing your hair at the same time as serving you coffee. I'm just giving you a funny example. But would that be a better coffee service than just getting a takeaway cup?
Sure.
Yes. Which one do you think would be more expensive?
The one with all of the bells and whistles and
Because
gold.
the bells and the whistles, they get the experience. The coffee, they're just buying the coffee. So my point is, I think people get so stuck up on prices but what value are you getting? The minute that we can shift from prices to value, that's when your life is going to start changing. And so, if someone out there has gone ahead of me, and this is how I built my business 15 years ago, I'm looking at the people who've gone ahead of me and built structures and built business. That's how I found my success in my business, was copying structures that other people had implemented, and it cuts out all the time and all the fuss and all the fluff, right? But if you try and reinvent the wheel and figure out a brand new way, it's going to take you a lot longer. So for myself in business, I'm always looking for a way to cut the time and to build a better business that can be more impactful for people's lives and can empower and inspire many people. So I'm always looking to shorten the time and serve more people on a bigger scale. And so I know that we're coming away from the money game now, but I want to say that when you go and speak and you empower people, no longer is it about one person to one person, it's about one person to many. Now your value increases as a person that can deliver a message that can empower and inspire to many people at one time. Now your paycheck goes up in your life as well, because you're now being paid to inspire and empower people from one to many. So speaking is a very powerful tool, and that's why the most wealthy people in the world usually are speakers, or they're actors in Hollywood. I mean, they're speaking, right? They know how to speak. So my point is, the minute that you can learn how to speak one to many, your pay will go up in your life, your influence will go up in your life. And even if you have multiple businesses, you're the influencer in the middle of your business. Steve Jobs was the personal brand and Apple was the business. So
Mm,
what are you doing today that will make you the personal brand of your business or businesses? So yeah,
mm.
influence.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really like what you're saying around cost and value. I've actually run workshops specifically on value because it's something that we don't tend to understand very well.
Mhm.
And there are lots of different forms of value as well. So if, for example, you get up and speak in a room full of 100 people, it doesn't even matter if you don't sell anything, if that's what you're going to do, like you're doing something, you're promoting your business, because there are so many other ways in which you can gain value from doing something like that. You are establishing yourself as an authority on that topic, which is, over time will be more valuable than just making a few sales. Um, you're doing so many things where it's quite hard to articulate, but maybe I can give you an example. I've been putting myself out there for so long, for over 20 years as a writer and producer and all of the things that I mentioned earlier, that like people come to me all the time. And it might be someone that I interacted with 10 years ago. And then that person has an idea and they've just thought of me. Something's made them think of me. And then they've called me up and said, "Oh, hey, like Pete, I've got this idea. Maybe you could help out."
Yeah.
Like this is the kind of long-term value that is impossible to quantify. It's impossible to put a dollar figure on. But that can be the reason why you find success in the long run, is because you've built such a reputation over time and doing things like, yeah, being again that person standing at the front of a crowd is a great way to do that. You just never know. Some people will forget you in 5 minutes. They'll go home and they won't remember your name. But that might stick with someone for 10 years, 20 years, their whole lifetime. And you just, again, when you've done that enough, like I probably get 4 or 5 emails a week from people I don't know, reaching out to me, which is
Mm.
quite a huge number
Yeah.
after having sort of been in business for again 15 plus years. So yeah, I think that's a really important perspective, to not just be so fixated on the dollar sign of everything, just to make sure that you're getting some form of value. And
Mhm.
that value doesn't have to be an immediate financial return. In fact, it rarely is in business. I find that you don't tend to get as much money in the short term as you think you will, but like if you build that sort of value stream behind you, that's something that can really keep paying off over and over again over time.
I couldn't agree with you more. And the fact is that we're connected still because you were the person of influence in the room when we first met so many years ago. So, Pete, I know how amazing you are with marketing. So, quickly before we end this amazing conversation today, it's been so fun. I'd like to touch on marketing, especially funnels, because there's so much information out there. Your head starts to spin when you start to think about it. So maybe if there's one or two tricks that you can share with us about building a funnel in business, I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. I think a really good way to think about it is like how social interactions work. How does it work if you make a new friend? If you meet somebody and you have a bit of a chat, and then you're like, hey, you know what? Like, we seem to really get along. And the person's like, yeah. And you're like, oh, why don't we go out on holidays together? I'm going to Bali. Do you want to come with me? It's going to be kind of creepy 99 times out of 100. And actually, that's kind of how a lot of people do marketing. They
Mm,
go too far too fast.
mm,
And so the idea of a funnel is just taking your customers or your stakeholders on a journey that kind of warms them up to something that might be more like, let's go to Bali together, stranger. Um, there's a couple of concepts that I might just mention briefly, and then we can expand on those next time. There's the idea of a sales cycle, which is like how long does it take before you sell your product or service. So this is particularly true if you've got a big ticket item, like I have a business incubator course that I mentioned before. Well, it's a 6-month training course. We're asking for a decent amount of money for it. It's good value, but even still, it's a lot of money. And you can't just hand someone a flyer and expect that they're going to be like, oh, yeah, business training. That's what I need. Okay, I'm just going to commit 6 months of my time and thousands of dollars to it. It's just not how we work. And if you think about your own experience, I think that's a really good way to just validate what I'm saying is like, how many times have you picked up a flyer and then spent $1,000 or more? It doesn't happen. We don't do it. So the idea of a funnel is about building a relationship and the reason why we call it a funnel is because we might reach a lot of people at first, and not all of those people come through to the next stage. It's a funneling down to a smaller number. So if you're reaching 1 million people by having a YouTube channel or a Instagram account or something like that, and then you want to offer, let's just say, some kind of training course around the thing that you do, the thing that you're great at, you will not have a 100% conversion rate, not even close. So it's about creating a journey from that first step of somebody becoming aware of you for the first time to engaging with you and your content or whatever it is that you do, maybe becoming a subscriber, maybe signing up to something small, a trial product or something like that, all the way to the point where that person actively promotes you without you even having to ask. So, that's the core concept of a funnel. And yeah, I'll expand a bit more on that next time. I'd love to go into the finer details of it.
Okay, Pete, that's going to lead us into this. Then I would love to invite you to my upcoming workshop. Would you like to come along? Pete,
I'm going to
I,
be
I think that
there.
you should be speaking on the funnels because I think it would be an amazing topic. So how about we do a workshop together coming up? What do you think?
100%. I'm
Okay.
I'm going to be there.
All right. That's amazing. So
You hooked me in. There you go.
okay,
Sale
awesome. I'll hook you in there,
date.
Pete. So, how about we do this? We'll put the link for the upcoming workshop below. Pete will be speaking on how to build a funnel and how to attract and the conversation around communicating with your clients through a funnel, and then in a moment, I'll ask you to divulge on it. I will be speaking about how to launch your speaking career or how to use speaking in your business to become the person of influence, to stand out in the crowd, beat your competitors, and really be someone that like Pete, people reach out to on a daily basis to ask something or whatever. So I'm going to be speaking and sharing with you some information that can help you put structures in place so you can build an amazing speech and emotionally move your clients by sharing some information and also having an aha moment in your crowd. So that's going to be amazing. I can't wait to be there. So, Pete, would you like to speak for a moment on your funnels and the communication and so forth, and what you're planning on doing at the workshop?
Yeah, sure. So, I think what I'll do is I'll go much deeper into what I kind of explained at a concept level just now, and talk through the different steps to elaborate on the different kinds of activities you could do at those steps. But we also need to think about the delivery mechanisms behind a funnel as well, because there's lots of different ways to communicate, whether it is by, podcasting or emailing or doing a physical in-person event. So understanding how all of those things interacts and fit into the mix as well. And I didn't mention this earlier, but the main business that I run these days is actually business back-end development, so websites and the systems that power them. So we focus a lot on automations and integrations and trying to turn your 6 or 7 different apps into one centralized, usually a CRM, a customer relationship management system. So understanding the kind of technical ways that these things can work. I mean, it won't be so technical that you won't be able to follow it. Like just talking about the concepts and some of the kinds of mechanisms that you can use. Because in an ideal world, what you want to do is to be able to automate the start of your funnel so that it doesn't take a lot of effort. Like what you were saying, Laura, you don't want to be spending all day, every day doing these small things. You really want to be focusing on where you have the most value. And then bringing people on that journey all the way down the funnel, and that's maybe where you interact more directly, more personally, with much greater duration with people further down into it. Because like in an ideal world, you've really got that process optimized where you've got a lot of people who are finding out about you, and those who your thing won't be for everybody, and that's fine. That's great. That's how the world works. But those people who like your style and like what you have to say and what you're doing, like they're the ones who'll stay around, and then you get to the point where those people are much more warmed up, and I don't know if they're ready to go to Bali with you, but you're not just going straight in cold as a stranger trying to sell to people, which just doesn't really work.
Yeah,
So yeah, I look
yeah.
forward to elaborating on that.
I love that, Pete. I always say create offers. Do not sell directly, just create an offer, and anyone who's needing that offer will take it up. Become a person of value and importance. I love that. So, upgrade the ticket to a VIP ticket, and you get to come 30 minutes early, network with us, and also receive the replay videos after the event. Can't wait. It's going to be so exciting. It's going to be, you're going to walk away with tangible tips on literally how to speak, how to communicate on a funnel side and on a speaking side. So, any final thoughts, Pete, before we leave today?
Yeah, definitely. I think one really important concluding thought from me is like, think about how you can give value to other people. That's really the heart of running a business enterprise from my experience. If you can offer somebody value, they will always want to come back for more. And you don't have to try to make money at every stage. You don't have to make money from that first little bit of value. I mean, obviously we need to live and eat in the world, so of course we do need to ask for money at some point. But like I find that the more you give, the more you get. So don't be stingy with offering value. Uh, really think about how you can help solve people's problems for them. That's when things go really, really well. If someone has a problem and you are the solution, give them a little bit of value, build up that rapport, build up that trust, demonstrate that you are the right person to help them. And then when you can solve their problem, everyone's going to be thrilled.
I love that so much. The world is waiting for your message. So, guys, what are you waiting for? Come to our event. The ticket link is below. There is general VIP. I think Pete's got a early bird happening on that ticket. Yes, for the next 4 days. So click the link below to get the early bird. And we can't wait to give you all of our experience. I've been in business for 15 years, so I'll package it up in a very easy 4-step formula so you can walk away and start implementing it into your business today. And Pete, how many years? 20 years plus?
Yeah, somewhere like the 15 to 20 mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you there. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you later. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Pete.